I often have young people come up to me and ask me advice about music and the music business and how to do it, and it's a very complex question. My first advice usually is don't. I mean, it's a very, very difficult and frustrating business on every level. I mean, it's frustrating trying to get your foot in the door, but there's an old saying that your problems don't really begin until you get your foot in the door. And it's a very frustrating career in every way. Now, my first advice is to make sure that you're really committed to the music. Because if the music isn't your life, you're basically not willing to die for the music. There's really no reason to even be in this business. I mean, you'd be much better going back to school and, just start working in business or anything than being in this very cutthroat business that's not fair. In a lot of ways, fairness is not built into it, and it's really people take advantage of you. In myriad ways. Of course, that's true in a lot of industries, not just music, but music seems to be concentrated. I mean, Sonny Rollins, the great tenor sax player, jazz tenor sax player, once said that the only business worse than the jazz business is boxing. And I actually would include probably professional wrestling. Those are two very out businesses. But the music business is very bizarre. Now, if you're meant to do this, I mean, if you have what Catholics call vocation, like for priests, like you just know that you're meant by divine inspiration to do this, and you have no other choice, then I suggest you do it. Other than that, it's just way too treacherous. Now, if you do get involved with the music business, it is all-encompassing, and you have to continually live your life in a way where you fuse every aspect of your life together to do what you need to do to survive and to make the music. And A, you're going to have to be willing to make a lot of sacrifices. B, you're going to have an environment around you that supports you doing what you do, whether it's wife, girlfriend, family, whatever. You have to have some type of ambient or environment that's supportive, because it can get very lonely out here as a musician on all levels of success. It can get lonely, and you really need to really have a core group of people around you who you trust, who trust you, who truly support you in what you do spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, possibly financially. And you really need to water that garden every day. Really take care of your personal life, because if there's chaos around you in your personal life, that can make everything else difficult. Now, of course, some artists thrive on chaos, but that's not my way. And a lot of the artists, for instance, one of my favorite musicians is Thelonious Monk. And he had a very supportive environment around him, because he had a very hard time making it in the music business of his day, but he had a mother, a wife, and an actual patron, the Baroness Nika Rothschild, that were very supportive of his every move, and that was a rock. Through all the hard times, he knew he had a very cohesive team around him that allowed him the emotional and psychological security to have a home and have a world around him where he knew he could practice his creative chops and really know that there was support around him in all different ways. So that's, to me, the first thing, is to really make sure the world around you is supportive, tight, and to really tend to that. I mean, a lot of musicians get out of here and you kind of live a crazy lifestyle, and that's cool when you're young. I mean, that can possibly feed some people's creative juices, but you really do need around you a team that really understands you and supports you in all the ways that you need to be supported. I also would, and with that in mind, that also includes management. I mean, it's really good to have people around you that educate you about the business, because people try to take advantage of you from day one. If you have somebody, a mentor, that you can really trust and that understands you, that mentor has to understand what you're about musically. I mean, they can't try to make you into something you're not for you to become successful. Your success has to be generated off of you being true to your vision and who you are. And if you have a manager slash agent or mentor that really understands you, what you're trying to do in music, and where you need to go business-wise to also give you the environment to be able to actualize your actual artistic goals. You know, that management or that mentor or that coach is a very important part. And most musicians that are, quote, successful have had somebody at some point that came in and kind of really showed them the ropes. And because the thing is, every one of us is unique, so we all have a unique path, both artistically and how the business will surround us, how our artistic vision will generate its own space within the music industry. And the more unique your vision is musically, probably the more unique the situation will be if you become, quote, successful in the way your music gets out to the world. Now, that's the other thing to define success. I mean, success in the music business is staying alive, not killing yourself, not going crazy, you know, getting hooked on drugs and drinking yourself to death, and you know, getting your music out there, even if it's a really limited audience of people, but you know, your music is really important to them. If you can do that, I mean, you're a success, and if you survive, because this is a really treacherous world out here, and it doesn't favor anybody like having something, because as a musician you're basically selling your emotions, you're selling your soul, and you're very fragile, and you know, because you're laying your soul open to people, and then you actually become a business entity because of that. And so it takes on a whole weird thing, and you're very vulnerable to a lot of things. So if you can survive, you can pay your bills, and if you can get your music to whoever is your audience, you know, however small, big, or whatever, you're successful. You know, because this is, you cannot define. I once said to a friend of mine, a friend is a great bass player, Wayne Parker, and we were in a plane together, and I was reading an article in a music magazine by another about a jazz saxophone player. It was an interview with him, and he's very successful, but he came across as very bitter in the article. So I said to Wim, who was sitting next to me, so-and-so's coming off really bitter. Well, he's doing well. Why is he so bitter? And he said, well, he's bitter because he's not Joe Henderson, and Joe Henderson is bitter because he's not Sonny Rollins, and Sonny Rollins is bitter because he's not Mick Jagger, and Mick Jagger is bitter because he's not Elvis Presley. And Elvis Presley took himself out because he was bitter that he was Elvis Presley. I mean, yeah, comical story, but William was making a point in the way William does, yeah, and it was very true. Nobody's ever really happy with what they are. They always want to be somewhere else, but if we all take stock of where we're at and see what we have going for us, you know, we have a lot going for us, you know, and we should all be thankful. Now, I'm saying that for myself too, because even though I can intellectually make that point, you know, I fall into the vortex of wanting to be somewhere where I'm not yet, even though I should be thankful for what I do have happening in my career. But anyway, so it's defining success and being reasonable while shooting for the stars at the same time is very important. And from there, just keep working on your music every day, because the most important thing is when you hit the stage, that what you're doing is you. You are emanating yourself on the stage. That's the most important thing. If you're true to yourself, and when you hit the stage, it's strong and it's you, you're a success. I mean, you know, Mick Jagger, Elvis Presley, none of them have anything on you if you're getting on stage and you're really you. I mean, there's no, I mean, that's what it's about. Just getting on stage and really being you at the top of your strength. So apart from that, just educate yourself on the business. that's an ongoing process for all of us because the business changes so quick, especially with technology changing so quick. But I would say after that, just educate yourself on a daily basis about the business and bring your creativity that you have in your art into your business, because the basic thing is to get a image. You in a sense are an image. There's your music and how it's presented to the world, and those two things should coalesce somehow. When you look as a jazz musician, Thelonious Monk is one of my idols. I mean, marketing wise, his name even sounds like his music. Now that was not contrived, but I'm just saying that there should be some type of way to fuse who you are, your art, and how it's presented into the world to a cohesive, organic piece that just feels right. And then it's up to the stars or the gods after that how things unfold. But the important thing is, if you hit the stage with full honesty, then you're surviving. You are beyond success.